There was one god Zeus never dared to fight, and she ruled the night itself. Imagine the King of Olympus, the man who toppled the mighty Titans and crushed the giants with a single flick of his wrist, suddenly coming to a dead halt. He wasn't stopped by a sharp sword, a golden shield, or a clever trap, but by a shadow so deep it made his stars look like dim flickers in a storm. We often think of Zeus as the ultimate power, the peak of the divine food chain, but there is a name that made even his lightning bolts feel like mere toys. Meet Nyx, the Primordial Goddess of Night, a figure of such immense power that even the heavens tremble at her name. She isn't an Olympian, nor does she care for their petty dramas, golden thrones, or the worship of mortal men. Nyx belongs to a category of existence that makes the gods of Olympus look like newborn children playing in a sandbox. She is one of the protogenoi, the firstborn deities who emerged from the void of chaos at the very dawn of time itself. While Zeus was still a hidden infant, she was the universe. While Zeus was struggling to hide from his father's appetite and the Titans were fighting for control over the earth, Nyx was already weaving the fabric of the cosmos. She existed before laws were written, before thrones were forged, and long before the first bolt of lightning ever struck the earth. Her lineage is older than the concept of light itself, making her a grandmother to the world that Zeus thinks he owns. To her, the rise and fall of Olympian kings is nothing more than a momentary blink in the vast, eternal darkness she commands. To truly understand Nyx, you have to realize that she didn't just rule the night, she was the night. She wasn't a lady in a dark dress holding a moon lantern or a queen sitting on a velvet chair. She was the literal physical embodiment of the vast, terrifying darkness that stretches across the universe. When she moved, the world didn't just get dark, it got heavy with the weight of the unknown and the ancient. Her presence was a reminder that no matter how bright the sun shines, it always eventually surrenders to her. Her power is not something that can be measured by muscles or weapons, but by the sheer inevitability of her nature. Every living thing, from the smallest blade of grass to the most powerful god, must eventually close its eyes and enter her domain. She is the mother of sleep, the mother of death, and the mother of dreams. This means that every time Zeus closes his eyes, he is entering the kingdom of Nyx, and he knows that in that realm, his thunderbolts and his titles mean absolutely nothing at all. The moment Zeus truly backed down is one of the rarest and most telling sights in all of Greek mythology. It happened when Hypnos, the god of sleep and a son of Nyx, fled to his mother after making a huge mistake that infuriated the king of the gods. Zeus was ready to tear Hypnos apart, chasing him through the heavens with a murderous intent that would have terrified any other deity. He was a hunter on the trail of prey, fueled by a rage that usually leveled entire cities and ended divine lineages. But the chase stopped abruptly at the threshold of Nyx's cave, a place where the light of the sun feared to tread. Zeus reached the entrance, saw the ancient darkness swirling within like a living beast, and he didn't charge in with his usual bravado. He didn't shout his demands or threaten to burn the mountain down. He simply stood there, feeling the cold breath of the primordial night on his face, and for the first time in his immortal life, he felt a genuine, paralyzing sense of hesitation. He realized that stepping into that darkness meant stepping into a fight he couldn't win and a depth he couldn't command. He simply turned around and walked away in silence, leaving Hypnos safe in his mother's shadow. This wasn't a tactical retreat or a temporary truce. It was a total submission to a higher power. The King of Olympus, who feared no Titan and bowed to no man, chose to swallow his pride and walk away rather than face the wrath of the goddess who birthed the very concept of the dark. Zeus didn't back down because he was weak in the traditional sense, but because Nyx was fundamentally untouchable. Even the king of the gods knew that some lines are never meant to be crossed, even by those who sit on the highest throne. Attacking Nyx would be like trying to punch the sky or stab the ocean. It's a futile effort against a force that is fundamental to the architecture of existence. Zeus is the god of order and justice, but Nyx is the goddess of the inevitable, the raw and the unrefined. You can argue with a king and you can fight a soldier, but you cannot win a war against the very concept of darkness. Why was Zeus so afraid? It's because Nyx represents the primal fear that lives in the gut of every living thing since the beginning. She is the darkness that was there at the start and will be there at the very end when the last star fades. Zeus rules the sky, but even the sky needs the night to rest and recover. His power is loud and terrifying, but Nyx's power is quiet, ancient, and completely unavoidable for any being that breathes. She is the one reminder that no matter how many kingdoms you conquer or how many enemies you defeat, there are parts of the universe that will never be tamed by light or law. She is the boundary that Zeus cannot cross, the ceiling to his limitless ego. In her presence, he is not a king. He is just another being afraid of what lurks in the shadows beyond his golden porch.
The deeper meaning of Nyx is that she represents the unconquerable parts of our reality that we all must face. Zeus might be the master of the world we see, the world of politics, war, and weather, but Nyx is the mistress of everything we don't understand. She is the mystery that keeps the wise humble and the powerful cautious in their dealings. Power isn't always about who has the loudest voice, the brightest weapon, or the most followers. Real absolute power is often found in the things that stay quiet. She is the force that waits for the sun to set, knowing that eventually everyone and everything must return to the dark. Her children, death, sleep, and fate, are the only things that even the gods cannot escape, and they all answer to her. This creates a hierarchy where Nyx sits at the very top, undisturbed by the chaos of the world below. Zeus can command the clouds to rain and the earth to shake, but he cannot command the night to end a second earlier than Nyx intends for it to finish. Think about the psychological impact of a being like Nyx on a ruler like Zeus, who is used to being the most important person in every room. To encounter someone who doesn't care about your lightning bolts must be a humbling experience for the king of the heavens. It forces him to acknowledge that his reign is just a small chapter in a much longer book written by the primordial forces. Nyx is the ink on those pages, the black background that allows his bright story to even be visible to the world. In many ways, Nyx is the ultimate guardian of balance in the Greek cosmos, ensuring that no god becomes too arrogant. She doesn't need to fight because her existence alone is a victory over the chaos of light. While the Olympians are busy fighting over who gets the best sacrifices or who sits where at the banquet, Nyx is watching from the void, unmoved. She doesn't seek glory because she is glory. She doesn't seek power because she is the source from which the very idea of power emerged. This relationship between Zeus and Nyx shows us that even in mythology, there are hierarchies of the soul and of the spirit. Zeus represents the conscious mind, the ego, and the light of reason and law that governs human society. Nyx represents the subconscious, the deep well of the soul, and the mysteries of the universe that remain hidden from our sight. You can try to light a candle in a dark room, but you haven't destroyed the darkness. You've only pushed it back to the corners where it waits. If Zeus had dared to strike her, he would have been striking the very foundation of his own world, potentially unraveling reality itself. This is why his fear was actually a form of wisdom, a rare moment of clarity for a god known for his impulsive and often reckless behavior. He understood that the night is not an enemy to be defeated, but a partner to be respected. Without Nyx, there is no rest, there is no mystery, and there is no perspective on the true scale of the universe and its many ancient wonders. Every culture has a version of Nyx, a shadow that reminds us of our limitations and our place in the grand scheme of things. In the Greek world, she was the silent queen who didn't need a crown to be recognized by the king of the gods. She lived in the cracks between the stars and the depths of the earth, watching the world with eyes that had seen the birth of time. To her, Zeus was just a temporary flare of light in an endless night, a noisy neighbor in a neighborhood that she had owned forever. So the next time you look up at the night sky and feel a sense of awe, or perhaps a little bit of a shiver down your spine, remember Nyx. Remember that the darkness isn't just an absence of light, it is a presence all its own, with its own rules and its own terrifying beauty. Even the mightiest ruler of the heavens knew when to bow his head and step back into the light. He knew that the night doesn't belong to him, and it never will, no matter how many bolts he throws. Power isn't always loud, explosive, or filled with the sound of trumpets and the cheering of crowds. Some power is silent, ancient, and unavoidable, moving through the world without making a single sound or leaving a single footprint. It is the power that waits for the noise to die down and the fires to burn out, reclaiming the world every single evening. It is the power of the first mother, the one who was there before the sun and will be there long after the sun has finally gone cold. Nyx remains the ultimate enigma of the Greek pantheon, a goddess who stayed in the shadows while others fought for the spotlight. Her victory is her endurance, her legacy is the silence of the midnight hour, and her strength is the respect she commanded without ever lifting a finger. Zeus may hold the scepter, but Nyx holds the universe in her quiet, dark embrace. She is the silent reminder that even the king of the gods is just a guest in a house that was built by the night. The story of the goddess Zeus refused to fight is a reminder that we should all respect the mysteries we cannot solve. Some things are not meant to be conquered. They are meant to be honored for the depth and the balance they bring to our lives. The night is not a void to be feared, but a goddess to be admired, much like the king of the gods did on that fateful day at the mouth of her cave. Some power is silent, some power is ancient, and some power is simply unavoidable for us all.